All right, so here's our view of Cabo San Lucas. Never been before, and I'm a little beat up. We traveled an extra, I don't know, or we got screwed out of a day of being here from weather and fog traveling, which is really shitty. But we got here, but that meant that we got here late after getting beat up traveling, and then we had to get up 5 o'clock in the morning and get beat up on the water for 2 days straight, which was exciting with my friends. And this is the first day we've actually been able to experience this place, and we have to leave in a day and a half, I think, or 2 days. So anyway, I finally get to sit down and relax, and I'm gonna share some voices, some important voices. That's what I'm gonna do. And then maybe go swim or something, I don't know. I'm not really much of a tourist kind of person, so. I'm gonna flip over to the audio with B-roll in the background because I'm gonna do this in the room. And I could do it out here, but it's a little echoey. Whatever, I like my audio to be smooth. Now listen to these important voices, all right? All right, here we go. So, while I was on the boat with my buddies, I was clearing my phone to make more space for fishing, pictures, and video, obviously. And I had a whole pile of screenshots in there, and I need to get those shared, so I couldn't delete them until I share them. And I found an interesting one, and I think it was sent to me in Messenger with a whole pile of screenshots. So, now, how am I going to do this? This is quite the conversation. So there's a conversation between a man and an Alberta farmer. And the Alberta farmer has no qualms of getting his information out. And this man approached him, I guess, online, had a conversation with him, and he screenshot the conversation with this guy, right? And they messaged me, and he said, "Steve, I've had a conversation with an Alberta farmer. He has these beings on his land for over 30 years. Many sightings and orbs and U.S. government agents in Alberta. I've forwarded to you above the conversation I had with him. You may find it interesting." I forgot to mention that this Alberta farmer, Cody Mars, he and his father saw U.S. government agents trespassing on their land. They also saw their cars with U.S. government plates. They observed the agents from a distance with binoculars, but didn't approach them. It's just a farm and woods, so something is up. And I doubt they have permission from the Canadian authorities to be poking around. Have you heard of U.S. agents sneaking around rural land like this in Canada? I've heard rumors. I haven't seen firsthand myself, so I can't confirm it, but at this stage of the game, I believe that the Canadian and American governments are possibly answering to just a small group of people. Now, let's face it, the Canadian government is just a bunch of piss-ons when it comes to it globally, right? But moving along, more importantly, is the information for all of us, the people. So let's get it going. It's going to be a little awkward to read this possibly because it's screenshots. Like we're talking 369, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screenshots of 9 different screenshots, all right? So here we go. So the original emailer to us messaged this farmer. The farmer says, "Hello." And he said, "Yes, I am very interested in learning more about Bigfoot. Thank you." He said, "Hi, thanks for asking me to message you. I'd love to hear what you know. I'm George, and I live in central Illinois. You're welcome, and thanks for messaging me. I'm Cody, and I'm from Alberta, Canada. Nice to meet you. And you as well. So take this as you will, and I promise you, it's not a word of a lie." Anytime I pause awkwardly, it's just switching the pages and catching where I was reading last, okay, guys? "I grew up with them." Man replies, "Wow. Where I'm from, they are so well known and seen so often, we don't even bat an eye anymore. I guess you could say growing up with them to us was no different than anything else, than everyone else growing up with deer, moose, or elk. And bears. You get the drift. So we never really put much thought into it. Now, when I say I grew up with them, obviously I don't mean they raised me. I mean, it was almost as common to see one as any other animal. I'll give you a bit about me. I'm not crazy. I'm a 31-year-old father of 3 boys, born and raised on a farm, and farmed my whole life. I moved away now and owned a few successful businesses, and I have no interest in lying to you or anyone else. I just want to tell people what I know and what my family knows. I believe you 100%. Our farm is well known up here for being different. And I assume you have heard about Skinwalker Ranch in Utah? Yes. Okay, cool. So our farm has often been called by many people that know it as the Canadian Skinwalker Ranch. We have lots of weird happenings almost on the daily, from UFOs and orbs to weird phenomenon like apparitions and other interesting things like that. I actually have a podcast on Spotify called the Canadian Skinwalker Ranch, where I explain a lot of the weird things that happen. I'd love to listen to your podcast. I'm absolutely fascinated by this topic and your story. I don't think growing up we really put too much thought on Bigfoot or what it was, other than it was an undiscovered primate, as do many other people. Please feel free to listen to it. It's difficult to share this information. All my friends think I'm insane, but I've heard so many true stories that I know this phenomenon is real. Have you seen Bigfoot morph into a being or vanish into thin air? I remember being about 7 or 8 years old with my dad learning to call moose. And my dad had an old camcorder and was filming my brother and I. And at the time, none of us noticed it, but when we watched the footage after the fact, plain as day, in the snow, my dad had in fact filmed a Bigfoot walking behind us. Now getting Bigfoot on camera wasn't important, as we always knew he was real. What was important, however, was how my dad, me and my brother, never seen him with our own eyes when we absolutely should have seen him. Yes, I have, and that's what I'm getting at. I can very much relate to not being able to tell my story to people. Yes, I believe that's true on film, but not with your eyes. And that's why I'm excited to have found this group and tell people that believe and want to know what I've seen and what I know. Many in the group believe Bigfoot is flesh and blood. Exactly. So my dad is an outfitter. Oh, hold on. Many in the group believe Bigfoot is flesh and blood primate. There's a lot of criticism for our position. So my dad is an outfitter and is one of the top rated guides in all of Canada guiding Americans and other people. So he has always been very quick to notice animals and tracks and whatnot. So him not seeing this while filming us when it was so obviously not far, got him curious as to why. Would you consider posting the video to the group? I agree, George. I also believe he is flesh and blood, but there is something peculiar for sure. It's possible he has a real body, but also interdimensional. I could accept that. I wish I could. Unfortunately, this is what sucks, that I can't prove this, but that video was almost 25 years ago and on an old camcorder we cannot find. And I know how that sounds, trust me. But here's the thing, okay? We started to get very interested in what it is. Our farm, like I said, has always had weird occurrences, and we noticed a pattern. When we seen a lot of UFO activity, you could guarantee in a few days we would find tracks, hear them talking in the woods, and they would make their presence very well known. Many sounds? Oh, he said, so he asked, scary sounds? And then he replied, when we stopped seeing the lights in the sky, we stopped hearing them. We stopped seeing them until we saw the lights. Sometimes for weeks, sometimes months, but I promise you, when we saw the lights or UFO again, we saw them soon after. I've read this happening to others as well. I would not say scary as in demonic, but very, very strange, and I guess scary for the first time you've heard them. What do you think they might be? I'll tell you, trust me. Okay. I won't tell you who, but my dad did guide an NFL player about 15 years ago. And that man was about 6'6", 300 pounds, and wasn't afraid of anything. But when he heard them, he was scared. He very much left a believer.
He was sitting in a tree stand alone one night when he saw the lights. When my dad went to get him, he said he didn't want to, got to flip the page. He didn't want to sound crazy, but he had seen lights and he was very worried we would take him for crazy. We told him no, but we didn't want to say too much naturally, so we changed the subject. We had him on a tree stand. Then the next night, he radioed us, very freaked out, and he asked if we could come and get him. I won't tell you who, but my dad did guide in. Same page. Sorry. When my dad went to get him, he said he didn't want to sound crazy, but he had seen lights and he was very worried. Okay, sorry. He screenshot this a couple times. We'll get there. We had him on a tree stand, and he asked if we could come and get him. He was so afraid to move, so we did. I'm glad you're sharing this with me. It confirms my belief in them. We heard them too, so we explained, and he said he never ever believed in it, but he was now a believer, but refused to hunt there again, but instead wanted to learn about what we knew, so we explained everything. Keep in mind, he paid a lot of money to hunt there, but was so fascinated by it all that he said, forget the hunting. What we told him and showed him was worth every dollar he spent. You're welcome, George. Thanks for listening to me. I believe whatever they are. And then George said, I know you're telling the truth. The sincerity come through in your messages. Then the farmer said, they are related to the lights in the sky. We have followed tracks for miles right to a tree, and then they just stop without damage to the trees, just like they were plucked up right there. I appreciate it. Everything I'm telling you is God's honest truth. But I will say this, we have found their droppings, if you will, and that's what always made us go, okay, they are flesh and blood, at least in one way or another. George said, okay. Farmer said, but they don't defecate like known primates. It's only a substance, almost a tar. We followed tracks and clearly found spots where they stopped to do their business as evidenced by their tracks and left behind a tarry black goo. Scientists would like to study that. Has anyone ever made that available for study? Well, my dad has always been worried about that because he relies heavily on people coming to hunt, and he has feared the people he wants to come will be afraid, too afraid, or think he's crazy. And on another hand, the believers will turn it into a cesspool and make a big scene. I'd imagine your family wants to keep things private, I agree. He's a very private person and has gone very far out of his way to remove evidence. Yes, exactly. I respect that decision. I guess in my youth, I never understood why until I got older, and then I did. We're having a problem in the States with up to 1,400 persons missing from our national parks each year. No trace. Yes, I've studied that a lot, and I'm very into the 411 cases. They know something they are not telling the public. Is Canada having a problem too? Well, maybe not as bad, but people up here have disappeared without a trace. I used to camp alone in Ontario. I'll never do it again. I never saw anything, but I didn't know about this stuff back then. We had one elderly guy go missing for a few years just north of our farm, actually on land that my grandfather had given his mom and my dad in the 40s. He was, as they all were, very aware of the Bigfoots and light and strange phenomena. When he disappeared, we, along with the police and search and rescue, searched for him for months. It took a few years to find him, but when they did, they found him in the muskeg about 8 miles west of his place in a spot that would be impossible for an athlete to get into, never mind an 80-year-old man in very poor health. I remember when they found him. It was in a place that had been heavily searched before many times, really only accessible in the winter months on snowmobiles. He was buried about 4 feet up to his chest. And when they found him, they literally said the oddest part was it was almost like he fell there. He was not a heavy guy, and even though the muskeg is soft, it's not soft enough for him to sink that far down. So they described it like he fell out of the sky. When When they did search his place, they found multiple sketches he had drawn of a big creature looking at him through the windows and stalking him through the trees. He had drawn many sketches of lights in the sky and had a diary all about the man in the woods. They asked us if we knew anything about any of it, and in fear of being laughed off or worse, blamed for any of it, we said we had no idea. Smart move, low profile. Yeah, I'm blown away. Well, I really hope you don't think we're all a bunch of nutcases, but that's my story, on that matter at least. No, not crazy. I know it's a real phenomenon. Yes, it is very real. I've been chatting with others who have told me things too. Whatever they are, I do not believe they are good. Agreed. Awesome. You can feel them too. That I want to hear about too. I've been told their scream goes right through you. Can you feel it? You see, animals go quiet when they're around. I guess as I grew up hearing them, I got so used to them screaming. Screaming became no different than the lights. You stop seeing them. Oh, sorry. But just like when you stop seeing the lights, you stop seeing them. And the air feels more at peace, if that makes sense. Yes, it does. Like we have a sixth sense that lets us know, or at least foreknow. What? Like we have a sixth sense that lets us know at least know they are gone until the lights come back and the air feels different. I hold a biblical view that they are evil entities, but I don't mention it too often. I can't prove anything, and I'm not a wacky Bible thumper. I totally understand that for sure. The NFL player I referenced was a very religious man, and he constantly referred to them as demons. Many Americans are religious, some extremely so, and gives Christianity a bad name. We have a messed up country for such a religious bunch. The farmer replied, "We watched one time out our window east of the house, and our dog Patty took off in that direction. We tried to stop him and call him back, and he never did. I'm sorry guys, it's just awkward. These are screenshots they're not clear. Our dog Patty took off in that direction. We tried to stop him and call him back, and never ever did we ever find anything from him or of him again. Canada is very like that too, trust me. Are Canadians religious as Americans are?" Oh, that's when he said, Canada is very like that too, trust me. Okay, and yes, I would say so. My grandparents were very, very religious, and they often said, the Bible says we should not be seeing and feeling what we are. The lights, the ghosts, the orbs, the woods, people, but we are seeing them, and they never could explain it. We love our farm. It will be in our family until the end of days. My dad lives here alone. My grandma just passed last year, and so he's alone out there. Has he ever expressed being scared to be there alone? He's a big man and a strong man. He's implied before a fear, of course, but he refuses to leave. He's had lots of things happen, but his will is incredible. I will say I've always lived in a town. Even though I live in a farming state, I won't go to the woods alone anymore, never at night. But I will say this, his mental health has been greatly affected. I don't blame you at all, trust me. So when you listen to my podcast, I do talk about the NFL player, and I call him Dean Berg. I thought maybe I should face my fear and go hiking alone at nights in the woods, overcome fear by doing it. Then I always say, hell no. I had to give him a name, and I did not want to say he was an NFL player, as I don't like to say too much. I respect his privacy. I never venture too far at nights. I googled cryptid creatures and was astounded to learn almost every nation on Earth has some form of these creatures unknown, but many sightings. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and it's something. He missed a screenshot there. George, this farmer says, George, it's every. Oh, there's a bunch of typos. This is a difficult one to read, you guys, but I hope we get the gist of it. George, it's very interesting, isn't it? We're in Canada, and we do not have Apache helicopters here, but we have had them flying low at our farm. We know the military knows something about our farm. We know they know. I'm not saying we've had the men in black or anything, but we have had very odd men in all black and black vehicles photographing our property often. Same as Skinwalker Ranch. The U.S. government looked into it. I wonder if U.S. military got permission to cross the border. And I doubt it. They won't let us approach them. They take off as soon as they see us coming. I'm honestly not sure who they are or what is happening, but as far as my dad remembers, it's been that way his whole life, and he's 52 now. Strange they would show up in a noisy helicopter. They were not being secretive in any way. That has stumped us as well. Why advertise the fact you're here? Our military has a John Wayne attitude. I assume since no one would believe us anyways, and yes they do. So you can see the replies are back and forth or aren't completely perfectly in unison, but we're getting it. When I was probably 17 or 18, it was night and we were watching TV. It was a beautiful clear summer night and the stars were out since there is no city lights to block the view, and we heard a chopper very close to our house. So curiously, we stepped out to see. And what we saw will sound nuts, but we saw a huge ship flying above us, blocking out all the stars, flying silently and moderately fast above our house, and I'd say with probably at least 10 military helicopters chasing it. I think was a few days after this when the Apache started flying over our farm. It scared my dad so bad about what was happening that he kept us in the house for days, and that was something my dad never did before. The nearest town from us is over 45 minutes away. The nearest city, it's 2 hours. That's very remote. I have not heard of the Bledsoe family. That's Alberta for you. We have less people in our whole province than some cities alone in the USA. Well, George, I appreciate you taking the time to listen. And then George replied, my understanding from all the reading I've done is the military is concerned about UFOs. They do research and chase them. Also, the U.S. military has extremely advanced craft that appear to be UFOs. It's confusing what we're seeing. We have a lot going on here too. I've been chatting with another man from Canada, and he said there is a hot spot of activity near him. I'll look for his message and let you know. The Bledsoe family is an American family who have a farm with the activity like you have. Google Chris Bledsoe, UFO, also YouTube. Canada is a hotspot because I feel our population is so low and a lot of our country is so remote. There's so many stories I have from our place I'd love to tell you. And it sounds good. I will check them out. It feels good to tell this to other people that actually believe it. Okay, well, talk again. I'd love to hear your stories. Sounds good. You have a good night and good chatting. Thanks for listening. And hey, George, I have a lot of people wanting to hear my story. I'm way too lazy to write this out again, so I'm going to copy and paste all this from our conversation. Just a heads up, I will not include anything you said. Okay, thank you. It's amazing. And there you go. End of story, end of conversation that was shared with all of us. So, I know there's a lot of people out there that claim to have seen these dudes, these military or government type individuals by their descriptions, right? The black shit, the black vehicles, blah, blah, blah. I'd have a tough time not videotaping them myself or driving up to them myself. That's just me. And I know there's a lot of other people who have reported seeing these guys. So, and especially as well, we've had a lot of UFO sightings have described the same thing in the air, that great big huge thing blocking out the whole sky. There's no way out of it. It's a very strong pattern. But anyways, what I can add on is one night, and I swear on the farm this is true, we saw a bright light in the forest cross the way, and we had a helicopter flying extremely low, vibrating the house in the middle of the night in pitch black. That happened at our place. That's a fact. Take for what you will, leave it. Do I got the answers for that? Nope. No, I don't. But anyway, there you go. Interesting, right? And I have a feeling that, I don't know where this Alberta farm is, but I have a feeling it's close to the U.S. border, just from the things, the mentions of the U.S. vehicles and plates. I'm guessing. There you go. Anybody else know anything else wants to add on to this? Email it in. All right? Now, who's next? All right, here we go. One more, and then I'm going to call it quits. It's funny when you think about those guys in the black shit, the black SUVs, darkened out SUVs, sunglasses, intimidating people. I don't know, how many of you would be intimidated by them? Would you go rip it out in your yard and confront them, take pictures of them, tell them to ram it up their ass? What would you do? I'm starting to get a bit of an attitude later in life. I don't really care. I think I'd go up and say something and videotape the shit out of them. All right, here we go. Steve. Okay, this came in 2020. Slight chance may have been read, but who knows? There's only about 250,000 new people here since then. I've been watching your videos for a while now. I like what you're doing. I also like and respect your "do I look like I give an F" attitude. I'm a retired deputy sheriff, former Marine, and also served in the Army Reserve. I have a very similar attitude. I also ran a, quote, mom and pop, end quote, outfitting business here in Florida for 10 years. We provided hunts for wild hog, turkeys, occasional deer hunts, gators, exotics, and bow fishing. I've seen some pretty gnarly swamp and done my share of stupid shit over the years. In late 2016, I was hog hunting in Central Florida in a pretty gnarly location. I've been in there before. It was always creepy because everything down here will try to eat you, and most times in that area you can only see 5 or 10 feet in any direction. On several occasions I had to use my bow to move water moccasins out of the way and find a path around a decent gator that wasn't interested in discussing who had the right of way. I made my way to a marshy clearing about a half a mile into the swamp and found hog sign. I set my climber in a 25 to 30 foot pine tree. I was just high enough to see the clearing and have cover around me, about 12 feet off the ground. I was in the stand by early afternoon and intended to sit until dark when the hogs are most active in our area. About 5 p.m. I was watching several white-tailed does that were about 7 yards north of me. They were feeding contently toward me, and my hog hunt was rapidly turning into a deer hunt. Shortly before dark, the deer had closed to 20 yards. I was trying to pick out which doe to shank. It was dead quiet, almost no wind, and I heard the most god-awful groan from behind me. It was so freaking loud that I felt it in my chest. And it was close, inside of 70 yards. The deer broke camp like I've never seen a deer run. No flagging, no bounding, just out. Straight line, ears pinned back, tails tucked, and about Mach 3. And that pretty much told me that whatever I had just heard ate meat. Technically, in my current location, armed with only a longbow and 3 arrows, I felt like I was right in that meat group. It took a few seconds to get my thoughts and my shit together, but I finally decided to take the deer's hint and unass the area. When I got to the ground, it was dark. I took my day pack and my bow, leaving my stand and hangers on the tree. The groan was to my south, and my truck was kind of northeast. I've been walking about 3 minutes and heard and felt the groaning sound behind me again. That's when shit got real for me. It was answered by an equally loud, high-pitched whoop from in front of me. Whatever answered the groan was between me and the truck. At this point, I'm really not liking this being surrounded situation. North and south were covered by those things. East was super thick, high ground, and west was lots of water, but more open. I went for a swim, circling northwest to the truck. I'd rather take my chances with the gators and snakes. Holy shit. I got to the truck pretty late, and the moon was up high. I found an enormous handprint on my truck's topper. It was super greasy. I didn't really know what to think of it, so I just got the hell out of there and went home. I waited a couple of days, then I went back to get the rest of my gear. This time, it was full battle rattle, and I was going in prepared. Short barrel 12 gauge, 40 cal Glock with extra mags, On the way into the swamp, I found big, deep tracks. They looked almost flat-footed. The tracks had almost no heel strike and pushed heavily off the ball. The stride was easily 45 to 50 inches and walking in line, like heel to toe, but full strides. When I got to my stand, I found 2 sets of tracks that met up about 10 yards from my stand, and all the tracks were either paralleling hog sign or in hog sign. I got my shit together and left. I drove out a different way, looking along the swamp for more tracks, and found them. I also found a mangled pig. The pig looked to have been 40 pounds-ish. It wasn't shot. Its neck had been twisted around a couple of times. The legs were obviously pulled off, not cut or chewed. The hide appeared to be torn open and not cut. It had been pulled apart and eaten. I've attached photos of the area, tracks, footprint, and the hog kill. I didn't see them face to face. I don't care if I ever do. That's their swamp. It's almost 7,000 acres without even a fire break in it. I've attached photos of the area, the tracks, the handprint, and the hog kill. I didn't see them face to face. I don't care if I ever do. That's their swamp. It's almost 7,000 acres without even a fire break in it. 2.5 miles wide and over 3 miles long. I know what was going on out there and what I was in the swamp. Sorry. I know what was going on out there and what I was in the swamp with. There was no way any human came 2 miles through that swamp to get behind me. No one came in behind me unless he or she was twice my 300-pound body weight and has 16-inch long, 6-inch wide, flat, bare feet. I didn't leave anything in there. I need to go back and get, and haven't been back in the area since. I've told a few close friends, but this is the only public statement I've made. I know that tracks don't do much for you, but I have attached photos from my incident. You can use the story, photos, and my name if they can be of help to you. Keep up the good work, Jack. Jack, I read this before. Now I remember, and I do remember those photos, and I don't have them in my phone with this story. I'd have to go online and do a bunch of digging to find them, which isn't going to happen where I am right now because it's just too slow. But if I remember to, I'll repost them again when I get home. But there's probably a handful of people that remember the video, or the email share, I'm sure. But anyway, there you go. What am I doing now? I guess we got to go out and see something around here. Poor Sarah's just been stuck in a fishing boat at 5 in the morning and beat up. But she's got lots of good fish pictures, more than me. Weird, eh? Anyway, share my story at howtohunt.com. Keep sending them in, you guys. Keep sending in the goods, the information. We need it. The truth. Share my story at howtohunt.com. And also, Dr. Melba Ketchum's conversation with me is still available. It's in the members category on the channel. And Sarah's still selling the lucky hats. And they seem to be juiced up with luck down here still. That's on the howtohuntstore.com. And I'll be back with more voices shortly.